Yo, what's good? Hello everyone, welcome back to another CHERNOBYL. This is episode 3 now. Obviously, as always, a brief little recap of episode 2 and kind of what's going on. So obviously it's about Chernobyl, the disaster that happened there some time ago. So the show started out with Legasov, 2 years kind of into the future, or the present day, however you look at it. He was doing a load of tapes, and I remember him mentioning a name, Dyatlov, and it's only just hit me who that actually is, because as you guys can see, I struggle quite a lot on names. So right off the bat, as soon as someone says a name in the beginning of a series but isn't shown until like not quite a bit later on, but not in the same scene, it just goes over my head. But looking back at it, he only mentioned one name. I think he only mentioned Dyatlov, and I didn't know who that was until I rewatched my reaction to episode 2 whilst editing it. Oh no, it wasn't. It was episode 1. I was looking back at episode 1 because he was only in episode 1. He was the guy that was just saying... He was the guy at the reactor core. Once it blew up, he was just in denial about it exploding, and his helpers or assistants, lab assistants, were saying that it was 3.6 Rontgen per hour, but that was as high as it went, and he was like, oh, it's not bad, but it's not great. And then someone threw up in front of him, and he said, oh, he's just take him to the hospital, he's paranoid, or whatever it was he said. Basically sending his own men to their deaths and not taking it as seriously as he should be. Now, someone said in the comments that back in those days you wouldn't dare question authority because of the risk of like huge backlash. You just don't go against authority, basically. Back in those days, you don't question it, you don't give any second thoughts, you just do it. And in this series, it shows that quite a lot. People who don't really have any power just keep getting belittled and contradicted, humiliated, shouted at. We saw one of the assistants being shouted at the end of episode 1 by the two Stooges. I don't know their names because they got taken away in episode 2. But yeah, obviously back in those days you couldn't really question authority. Well, it's becoming a lot more common to question authority nowadays, but obviously it's still not to the point where it needs to be nowadays to question authority. Like if someone, so much shit has been swept under the carpet, like Jimmy Savile. So many people knew about that, but they kept their mouth shut just to keep their job, so they didn't go bankrupt or anything. They didn't go homeless, because one person back in those days coming up with an allegation, it would have been swept under the carpet. But if a collective of people say the same thing, then it kind of won't be swept under the carpet. It'll be kind of brought to light a little bit more, which is really what needs to happen in this. And it seems like Legasov is really the only one, from my understanding, that cares, apart from that woman as well. I've forgotten her name, but she predicted the whole shockwave happening in, I think, 48 to 72 hours. That is so sick, man. My memory is on point. 48 to 72 hours. I bet that as well. I bet she did say that. So shockwaves happening in 48 to 72 hours. I'm going off on a huge tangent as well. I keep thinking other shit and not staying on the same subject. But questioning authority back in those days it wasn't frowned upon. It was more kind of like you were treading on eggshells if you questioned authority, especially when your life was at stake. And that's what those people were doing under Dyatlov in the command kind of centre about releasing the water. And then we saw Dyatlov being taken away because he was sick in the bunker, and it was all going in slow motion, and he was being held up by two medics. He saw a woman fainting with blood all over her. He saw medics fainting. So a lot of shit happened. So, and Legasov, in the beginning of episode 1, I feel like we're going to see more of Dyatlov. Otherwise, I don't know why Legasov mentioned him, because Legasov hasn't really met him, as far as I know. In this series, they haven't met at all. So I think Dyatlov might come back and do some more shit, unless Legasov mentions him because he was the first one to be completely in denial about evacuating or even just inspecting what happened, instead of sending multiple people down, and whatever they reported back, you said, no, that's not what's happened. Unless Legasov means it in that manner. And I think Legasov actually said Dyatlov got 10 years in, I forgot what it's called. I think it might have been like a prison labour camp, I think. I'm not sure. And Legasov said he deserves death, Dyatlov. So to come out with something like that, I think Dyatlov is going to do something a lot more. I don't think we've seen the last of him, basically. That's what I wanted to say. And I still haven't recapped it fully. And I literally just said a brief recap. I can go on for ages, honestly. I need to control myself. Anyway, so last episode, this woman who wasn't even in Chernobyl. She was somewhere. I don't know where, she was somewhere, but she wiped the window where she was working and she scanned it and said I think it was 8 Röntgen. 8 Röntgen, and Chernobyl was like 400 kilometers away. So she went all the way to Chernobyl because she predicted that a shockwave is going to happen. And she pulled through. She did pull through. She got everyone listening. It's a good thing Legasov was there, really. Otherwise, maybe she wouldn't have been listened to. Maybe. But anyway, that episode was finding out that there could be something even worse happening, and Legasov needed permission to basically kill 3 people in order to save 60 million. I think the plan to do that was the 3 people had to go inside where the reactor core burst, or just underneath, to release the water, because at the moment I think the water is actually heating up and it's going to explode, and it's going to reach as far as East Germany, and obviously whatever radius that comes out of. I think 10 or so countries are going to be affected by it. As far as predictions go, I don't really have any, just because it's based on true story of Chernobyl. Obviously, it's not 100% real. They have to add some drama to it. Some elements will obviously be fake, but the whole gist of it is real. Even the people in power just completely disregarding whatever someone says is wrong. Anyway, I'm trying to think of what I'm forgetting here. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Oh, the 3 people died, basically. I think, anyway. The camera cut. I said it in the recap last episode. The camera cut, and it makes you think they died. Maybe they survived, but they're not going to survive for long, because they would have been contaminated, like, really badly. But yeah, all hope seems to be lost now, because those 3 people were the last hope to stop the shockwave. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm also going to see how I do with subtitles off as well, because I don't think I need them. I think I understand the storyline a lot more if I don't actually use them, because half the time I'm focusing on reading them. I'm not actually... It doesn't give me time to read any body language or look at what they're looking at, see if they've got any worry in their face. Like, just see their facial expressions, really. I'm literally just looking at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to turn subtitles off. So the end of last episode, where the subtitles said silence, that was just to add suspense. It's good to know they survived though, but they're not going to survive for long. But at least they'll be able to relay back information. Okay. There we go, Vasily.
Excuse me.
One bit of corruption.
Yeah. Look who the cat dragged in. What did I tell you? There's no hiding from you, is there? Eh?
You gonna touch him?
It's easy.
But it'd be so hard not to touch someone you're in love with. And now she's gonna... I don't know, man. I'm slowly watching the inevitable happen. That's what it feels like.
Stop moving! Get off him! You're hurting him! You can't be in here. What's happening to him? Get out. You can't be in here.
It's like burning his insides. That's horrible.
I've seen them before.
Oh, they're at the bar.
Everyone who was in the control room, Dyatlov, Akimov, Totonov, they're all in Moscow. Hospital number 6. We need to find out exactly what happened that night. Moment by moment.
Yes, we do.
Decision by decision. Go now, while they're still alive. Talk to them. Because if we don't find out how this happened, it will happen again.
She must be a bit bored of travelling, surely. I only just got to Chernobyl last episode.
I need all 100 men to gather their equipment and get on the trucks.
Do you? To where?
That's classified.
Come on, then. Start shooting. You haven't got enough bullets for all of us.
Too right. Stand your
Kill
fucking
as many
ground.
as you can. Whoever's left, they'll beat the living piss out of each of you.
You can't talk to us like that.
Shut the fuck up. This is Tula. This is our mine. We don't leave unless we know why.
Good fucking leader, mate. He's a good fucking leader.
They're going to Chernobyl. Do you know what's happened there?
We dig up coal, not bodies.
The reactor fuel is going to sink into the ground and poison the water from Kiev to the Black Sea. All of it. Forever, they say. They want you to stop that from happening.
I didn't think he'd take it. I thought he was going to say, shoot us. But the guy looked really shocked. Yeah, he looked shocked when he said you're off to Chernobyl. So obviously they know what's happened there. Maybe not the extent of it. They heard about the reactor core blowing up.
You see St. Basil's?
Yeah?
Yes, it's beautiful.
I told you. I told you I'd show you Moscow, didn't I?
Yes. Thank you.
I hate shit like this, man, because I get emotional with this shit. I hate shit like this. Seeing someone you love go through something like that, man, it must be so... I can't imagine what it feels like. She's arrived in Moscow already? Come on, Dyatlov. How did it fucking blow up then? Oh, that's actually Dyatlov as well.
I'm not eating that shit. Give me something else.
I'm not a nurse, Comrade Dyatlov. I'm a nuclear physicist.
Well then, comrade nuclear physicist. Unless you happen to have a butter and caviar sandwich on you, you can get the fuck out of my room.
Was that it? That was the interaction? I thought she would have... She's gonna stay. No way was that it. This is the coal. Coal people. I wonder, when they get out and see the extent of it, I reckon if they try to leave, they won't be allowed to. And there's graphite on the ground still. They better tell them not to touch the graphite.
How deep do you want this tunnel? 6 meters?
12.
12? Why?
For your protection. At that depth, you'll be shielded from much of the radiation.
The entrance to the tunnel won't be 12 meters below ground.
No.
And we're not 12 meters below ground now.
No. We're not.
We have some equipment here on site. More will arrive by midnight. We can start in the morning.
No. We start now. I don't want my men here one more second than they need to be. If these worked, you'd be wearing them.
This guy ain't a fool, but he kind of is a fool. What was the lie though? Why 12 meters? He wants him to dig 12 meters. He caught him out though. That was clever by that guy catching Legasov out, saying you want us to be protected from radiation, but I mean it's everywhere. 12 meters. Is it to? I don't know. I've got a weird feeling it could be to put their bodies in case they die or something. Just bury them because they're not. It seems like miners aren't respected enough. They're just, I don't know, they're just like workers, isn't it? There's no human rights as far as miners go. So it might be, that's my prediction for that 12 meter hole. I might be way off, but it could just be a place to put their bodies once they're fully contaminated.
We can't breathe without masks. We can't breathe with the masks. It's like a fucking oven. We need ventilation.
Fans will put dust in the air. The dust will go in your lungs.
I've been breathing dust in my lungs for 20 years.
Not this dust. I'm sorry. For your own good. No fans.
I didn't even think of the heat, to be honest, down there. It would be really bad. Oh shit.
I am the senior reactor control chief engineer at Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
Senior engineer. How old are you?
I'm 25.
No way, that's my age.
When this is over, will they be looked after?
I don't know.
You told the truth.
Why didn't you initiate an emergency shutdown? Why didn't you press the AZ5 button?
We did. I reported the increase to Akimov, and he pressed the button. He did. I swear. I saw him do it. And that's when it exploded.
What?
Coincidentally, the conversation ends as he reveals something major. Dyatlov? What's up, motherfucker? You got some questions to be fucking asked.
I'm with the official Chernobyl Commission. I've been authorized by Valery Legasov. You can check this. My name is
We know
Ulana
who you
Holm.
are. What is everyone gonna hear?
You motherfucker. Fuck you. She got arrested. What? Who's trying to cover it up then? The government? Was it like a premeditated thing?
They say Akimov pressed AZ5 and then the reactor exploded. If it had been just one of them, I would have put it down to faulty memory or delusion even, but they both agreed they were adamant.
Faulty wiring? That's all I can think of. Whew, okay. That was quite an emotional ending. I was starting to tear up a little bit. I don't know if you could see it, but I was starting to tear up a little bit. I kind of knew it would cut to the top of the coffin just being covered up, and then it would go to her face. I think if I was in that position, the one thing I would be thinking about is wishing you could go back to that explosion happening and then just telling him, like, just please don't go. I know you've been called up and you're a fireman, but just this once, just please don't go. That's the one thing that would be on my mind the most. It's sad. It is sad. I don't know what else I expected from this TV show, but I didn't think it would be that sad. And the part that makes it even more sad is the fact that's only one story. That's just one story in this TV show. Whereas I don't even know how many went through what she just went through. But whatever you felt watching that bit at the end, or just watching those two in general, multiply that by, I don't know. I don't know how many deaths Chernobyl had. I don't know the actual figure, but I know it's over. I think it's over like 50,000. So that one scenario in this TV series, times that by 50,000, and you'd have 50,000 different families saying goodbye, which is even worse. You really don't want that to happen to you. That's probably one of the worst feelings in the world. I don't want that to ever happen to me. And she touched him as well, so I know she wasn't near enough the explosion to be as bad as him, but I mean it will start coming, definitely. It will start to take its toll on her health. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about those two. I don't know. I've said my thoughts. I just kind of want to move on, to be honest. We figured out that there are spies everywhere. And something hit me. A realization hit me. When the woman physicist got caught in the hospital and they were like, who are you going to tell? Or what are you going to tell? I knew it, man. Something stitched up. I don't know the whole facts of Chernobyl. I don't know if this could be some propaganda, but it seems to me like it maybe was an inside job. Because if the two characters in the control room said, I definitely hit the button to stop, like, the power, and then as soon as I hit the button it exploded, I don't know. I mean, it makes me think, was the reactor core built so that could happen? I said in the episode during it that it could have been faulty wiring, but I don't know, maybe it was set up so the button that can stop it all is actually the complete opposite. It destroys everything. But why would it be? Again, I don't know if I'm going off on a road that I shouldn't be going off on, but these are just my thoughts. And if all the physicists can't explain or can't give a reason as to how an RBMK reactor core explodes, then what else is it? They hit the button to shut everything down, and as soon as they hit the button it exploded. So to me, it seems like it is an inside job. It was meant to happen. Someone or a group of people, maybe even higher up, set that up to happen. I don't know what the reasoning would be behind doing that, but again, that's my thoughts on it. The miners, obviously the miners are gonna die eventually, if not straight away. The hole that they're digging is so hot under there. They were denied fans. I don't know why they were denied fans, because the guy said, oh, it'll just blow dust and you'll breathe it in, but I mean, they're breathing it in shit anyway, so at least get them some fans. I mean, even the water they'd be drinking would be contaminated. I noticed actually that the older guy with Comrade Legasov, he was feeding bread to some dogs. Obviously the bread will be contaminated, so everything's contaminated basically. And Legasov even said if there's any domestic pets or wildlife, they're gonna have to be destroyed to prevent the spread of contamination, I guess, just to minimise the effects of it. I think it's too late. The plan that they came up with, I think it was like 750,000 people they're going to need. I don't know if I heard that wrong. To do something else now. I mean, as if the miners thing wasn't enough. They've got some other plan that they want to do now. Seems like they're just coming up with more plans just to get more people killed. I think just evacuate the fuck out of there. Stop trying to fix it. You fucked up. Not obviously Legasov and those haven't fucked up, but someone's fucked up, and I think it was on purpose. Purposeful fuck up to blame on other people. Those two lab assistants in the control room. They're being set up by someone. I don't know. Collective of people. Could be the government. That's what I'm trying to imply here. I don't know. I can't really think of anything else. Again, I'm just slowly watching the inevitable happen. There's 2 episodes left. I can't see anything good coming from it. I think next episode is just going to be the miners. I think they're going to be picked off one by one. The work isn't going to get done. I mean, the guy said it would... The main miner said it would take 4 weeks for them to have dug the hole under the core. But I think they're going to start dropping, and they're going to have no one to finish it off. So my advice, even though it probably wouldn't be listened to, because I know nothing about reactor cores, I know nothing about radiation, I know nothing about power plants, but my advice would just be to evacuate. From what I've seen, just evacuate. I think I might leave it there actually, because I can't don't know. It's just sad. It's just a sad TV series. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it there, guys. See you for episode 4.